Welcome to today's episode of Sport Fishing on the Fly. We're up here in northern Quebec. It's called Nunavik, and we're at Pain River Lodge. I'm here with my good friend Donald Thom. Donald and I have been in numerous world fly fishing championships together. He invited us up to just, get a sample of the great Arctic char fishing they have up here. And Donald's developed some excellent techniques to take these fish. We're going to try today, Don?
Yeah, well, if we're lucky and the conditions are right, we're going to try a little dry fly fishing. And it's not the regular dry fly fishing where they take it on a dead drift, but we'll skitter it, we'll pull it behind the boat and bring it right up to the boat and let it dead drift, and we're lucky the big char will come up and grab it.
Excellent. You don't often get that, especially with Arctic char. There is the type of fish that you don't usually see you can take on any kind of surface. So this really should be exciting. So hopefully weather cooperates, and fish cooperate. We'll have a great episode for you today. So that's today when we take you sport fishing on the fly.
Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that big dome. Hey?
I think it's the technique. I think it's the fisherman.
Some days are good and some days are better.
A lot better.
Sport Fishing on the Fly is brought to you in part by Islander, builder of world-class fly float and mooching reels. The Frog Boat, inspired by nature, ingenious by design. The Freshwater Fishery Society of British Columbia. Catch what you've been missing, go fish BC.
Well, I was just getting ready to cast. I dropped my fly over the side, and this char came up and ate it with my fly hanging over the side. Now I could see how they would take dry flies, Don. Trouble is, he's got lots of trying to keep them out of the anchor rope. That was amazing. I had like all the 3 feet of line out. That was like the Czech nymphing technique, Donald. Oh, there he goes now. Now he's running away from the boat.
Here he comes.
Good job, Don.
Oh, that looks like one that's been in the lake all winter, eh?
Yeah, is that why?
Yeah.
Why is that? Did
He's
they
been
look
in
a
the
little
lake
darker?
and now he's going back to the ocean. He came up last fall to spawn,
Yeah.
and now he's spent the winter in the lake, and now he's coming back to the ocean.
And how can you tell that? Are they're
Just
darker?
he's very thin, he's just beefing up now. And for that size fish, he didn't fight that hard. A fresh char would have fought harder than that.
Well, once again, I just had it hanging over the side. I couldn't see it, and Donald screamed at me that there was a big char coming up to grab the fly again. I pulled it right out to recast it. So he says the technique to use is just let it hang. As you're stripping in, stop and let it hang and they'll grab it. So I'll have to try that. That's the second time today. We've only just started. That's happened. First one did grab it.
Yesterday, Dale, I was just doing this. I was putting my fly and pulling it back and making a little wake. And you'd see a huge wake as the char just charged up behind it.
I could see that, the way that they follow like that.
But we'll
come
have
right
to
up.
wait till the current's a bit faster as the tide's going down.
And that's when you try the dry fly, same way, eh?
Yeah,
Don, they'll
we'll do
chase
the
on
same thing with a dry fly. Just get them up on the top of the water and skid them in. You wanted to get back in the boat.
Just go over mine, eh?
Okay, take your rod over there. Oops, there you go.
Like we're not in competition.
I know, if it was, I know. I cut
Yeah,
your line.
You'd already cut my line off.
Oh yeah, I'd be cut by now. Well, I don't have a knife, but I would have chewed through it with my teeth. Oh, now we're in trouble.
Now you got a double header.
Oh, I got a very big fish. He jumped out of the water. You remember I was saying Atlantic salmon?
Okay, try to scoop them there, I think. I'll try. You get him? No. There he is. Oh, flies out. Good. Good fish too, Don?
This fish went right, pulled me right into my backing, and I had a
Yeah, so
drag
that's
set
another-
pretty tight, so.
Should be a good one.
And I just said, you ever catch an Atlantic salmon and went out there about, I don't know, about 150 feet and jumped out of the water, like a salmon does.
Well, maybe you got us. Wouldn't that be something? Because do they run in this river, Don, or you don't know?
Well, but they run in rivers close by, you know?
So you
Like a
never know.
Kuujjuaq,
Such a-
they're there.
Well, it's such a big piece of water,
I
right?
know, they could
come?
be, it's possible.
See, they really like to go back and forth back there. Well, that current's flowing through here at a pretty good pace.
Yes, sir. I'm going to try and get him up now.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
get
gonna
ready,
have
Joe?
to try the quick in the head and. Yeah! Oh, nice fish, Don.
That's a nice one, eh?
Yeah, that's got some girth to him. Now, see, he's a much lighter color. He's
Yeah,
nice
he's
and
fresh in
calm.
from
He's
the
been
ocean.
fresh out of the ocean, eh?
Yeah. Huh. Dale, the fish have been coming up, but they haven't been, you know, they've been chasing. And I think now we've got circumstances where maybe we could get them on a dry. So why don't we change the dry lines? We'll skitter our dries, bring them behind the boat, pull them, pull them, pull them. And if we get a follow, let them dead drift for a foot, and they should hammer it.
Okay, good. Just like a steelhead riffle hitch
Yeah,
across it.
yeah.
Because you had how many now? Just bow weighted
Oh, yeah, they're
behind
coming
your
right up,
fly.
so-
We might as well try it. It looks great.
We'll try it, because it's very entertaining to do that. So we fish him down on a crossdale like but we let him skitter like that,
Well, I see.
okay?
Same way, yeah.
But then when we get him behind the boat, when we get a follow, you don't do anything until you have a follow, and then if you have a follow, then you then you do this little trick. So
Okay.
the current's probably not quite fast enough yet, because you want a big wake. It's
Oh,
not
you want a
quite
big
fast.
wake.
Maybe on this side of the boat it's faster, I think. Yeah. There we go. You'll get them chasing it downstream like that. Well, they're not chasing it yet, right? And then when we get them right behind the boat like this, then you strip. And when you get a chaser, you bring them right up to about this close to the boat, and then you stop and you let it dead drift for a couple of feet, and they usually
And he'll
grab
eat it.
Yeah.
That would be exciting.
Anyway, it'll happen today, but I don't know if it'll happen right now, but.
Well, of course, we were out yesterday and we caught, you know, you catch so many fish here, you catch so many char that it's nice to experiment with different things. Because if you just put on a full sink line, you can catch char till your arms ache. So this way here is just a different way of doing it, different technique, and very exciting. Feed it down. Oh. He's on it. There it is.
Did you get it?
On a dry fly. Now, how about that for a technique for Arctic char? And Donald just showed you how to catch him on a dry fly. Chasing a skated dry, fed to him, fantastic.
That's much more fun than catching with a sinking line, eh, Dale?
I'll say. All visual. And you know, it had been a little bit of a lull here, right? The boats weren't catching, and you got one to come up on, he had his regular sinking line, and he had a chaser, and he said, look, I bet you if I put this dry on here, I can get this player. And darned if he doesn't do it. Oh, it's a nice fish,
well, that's
too,
a good
Don.
fish.
That's a nice fish.
I'm gonna bring him up. Up.
Oh, that's a nice fish, Don. Oh, he pulled off, eh, Don?
Yeah, he pulled off. He took so much line out, eh, with the weight of the current, eh?
Well, he was almost the end of your backing. Like that fish went, well, that was a nice fish.
Yeah.
But just, you know what, you know, rather than to just pick it up and show the people, that dry fly take, the way you work that, you know, to have them play on it, take that dry fly, how are you going to beat that? And this is early morning. I mean, we're talking about...
This is great because, you know, there's not too many places in the world you can catch them on a dry fly. But you have to use this very specific technique where you skitter it, you get some interest, they follow it, and then you dead drift when he's chasing it.
Well, I don't think I'd ever even heard of Arctic char taking on dry flies with that type of technique. So you kind of developed that here yourself, Donald, up here?
Yeah, I was just experimenting, doing different stuff. And I tried that and tried different techniques, tried dead drift, didn't work, and eventually did that. Let's see if the hook is okay, or...
Yeah, let's take a look at that fly, too. Take a look at that.
No, the hook's still good. That's a Labatt's Blue. Atlantic,
look at that thing.
Atlantic salmon fly. It's got a calf tail wings there in the front, you see?
Oh, you hammered that, eh? We use these bucktails in the ocean. They had been finicky on this, so I just put on, I thought, well, maybe I'll go big and try a great big polar bear bucktail. The fish are all around here surfacing, and so I fired it on there, and he snarfed it right away. Gotta get him away from the anchor. It's the trouble when those fish hit that close. It's
Oh.
And if you just hooked in the corner, you can see the bucktail. Just try to get it. We've just gone for lunch here. This is where we pulled in yesterday, and we caught a bunch of fish off these rocks. So a few of us got up on here where you can see totally visual. It's like bone fishing on the flats, and we've been casting our flies out, stripping them back, and watching these char hammer them. And we're just using dry lines and stripping our flies in. It's just remarkable. So even I've got a streamer on to use as an attractor. Don's got a nice kind of a bomber fly. But even with the streamers, you'll see I'm just using floating line. So you're still getting them right on the surface. Even with the streamer, you can see them just come up and take your fly. Very exciting stuff. Nice little char. Boom. Again, so that's a streamer fly, a bucktail type of fly with polar bear in it. Right off a dry line, and you can see I've only got a real short leader, probably 5 feet off a dry line. And they take the fly right off the surface. So even though it's not a dry fly, Donald's still getting them with the bombers. I'm trying it that way. They take it, so it's all visual. Okay, yeah, this guy's got some color on his fins. So what's that, Donald? If they've got color on their fins like that?
He's probably just come out of the lakes. You know, he's been up there all winter. He's coming back to renourish himself.
Nah. I'll try to pick him up. See, he's so thin and he's got red in his fins. So he's been in the lake, so he hasn't been actively feeding like some of the other big boys that have come from the salt. There he goes. Back to eat some more. Needs to get in the salt water, bulk up. Here it comes. Oh, you just won't. There he is. Oh, that ever neat, eh? He's right on it. There he goes. Oh, he's got, I got him. On the dry, eh? Like up like that. That's so neat, and they're skittering like that. Trying to tire him right out. I can get him right here, or I can hold him up. This guy looks like he's just come out of the salt. He's brightly colored, good shape, lots of nice pink halos. I'll see what if I can get him here. Okay, nice chrome fish, fresh out of the salt. Small, but great shape. I'm buttoning him here. He took it totally dry, skittering on the surface. So we'll aim him back. Then go back to the sea. That's a lot of fun like that. Skittering your fly on the surface and watching them come up and grab it. Can't beat it, all visual. So I'm here with my buddy Donald Thom, and again, Donald and I met on the World Fly Fishing Championships. And Donald's actually the only person from the Canadian team to ever win a medal. He won a silver medal at the championships, which is really quite a feat. But we'll talk about that at another show. We're here shooting for a week. We're up at the Payne River with Arctic Adventures. And Donald's been coming up. He invited us to come up with Steve Ashton to come up here and shoot some of this great wilderness fishing they have for Arctic Char. So Donald, how long you guys been coming? What have you been doing up here?
We've been coming here for 8 or 9 years. And when we first started coming up here, some of the people were fishing with spinning gear. And we said, oh, this is too great a fishery, you know, this should be fly fishing only. So over the years, we've worked with Steve Ashton and tried to promote it. And the other great thing about being up here, all the Inuits work as guides here. They're from the community just down here at the bay, about 25 miles away. So you get a real sense of the land and the people, and it's a great experience. And nowhere in the world have I ever caught so many fish in a day and so many big fish. It's just staggering. Well, you know what it's like. You've been here for a couple of days now.
Oh, sampling. It's incredible fishing. I mean, it's just, you go into these techniques that you're talking about because, you know, if you just use a sinking line, you can catch till your arms fall off, these Arctic Char. So you've developed a number of different techniques and things as well.
Yeah, over the years, because as fly fishermen, the ultimate thing as a fly fisherman, of course, is to catch fish on a dry fly. And typically it's very difficult or almost impossible to catch them on a dry fly. So over the past few years, I developed a technique where we tease the fish up to the surface. You get them chasing the fly. You get a big bomber. We use very big salmon dry flies. And you'll skitter the bomber. The fish will chase it. They won't take it. And if you dead drift it, they won't take it. But if you skitter it, then you pull it towards the boat, and when you almost get to the boat, then you dead drift it for 2 feet. They just stick their head out of the water and they hammer it.
You know, that's the big thrill, the take anyway, right? When you catch
Yeah.
a lot of fish, getting them to take it is just seeing the sight and then taking a dry fly.
And up here, the scenery, it's just great. Last time I was here, there was beluga whales swimming here in the bay, and so we stopped fishing and we zoomed over in the boat and got very close to them. We've seen Arctic wolves. There's an Arctic hare that lives around the camp that's about 3 feet high. And just yesterday, a big herd of caribou came down, and it's easy access. You fly from Montreal to Kuujjuaq with First Air. It's a 3-hour flight, and then from Kuujjuaq to the camp here, it's another hour flight on a Twin Otter. A very enjoyable experience.
Oh yeah, and the camp, you'll see the camp is well set up, very comfortable. We are in the Arctic. Like I say, you got to make sure you're prepared for all kinds of weather. You see today, spectacular, beautiful day. And again, tons of fish. So if you want to come up, get that true wilderness experience where you're catching these Arctic Char in just untouched environment. And again, you'll see some of the techniques. Give Arctic Adventures a call. Steve Ashen with Arctic Adventures. He's got a couple of lodges up here. We're going to come back and film the other lodge as well. And it's just absolutely fantastic fishing with a great wilderness experience.
To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one shown, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.